Hey guys, Jordan here. In this video, I'm going to answer a real estate photography question. And that is, what does real estate photography editing entail? Now that is a very broad question. There are a ton of different real estate photography editing methods, softwares, tools that you can use. And it also will depend on how you're shooting. So if you're shooting HDR, are you shooting Flambient, are you shooting a different style method? At the end of the day, you got to figure out, all right, what product do you want to deliver, or what style of photography do you like, right? Because photography is subjective. You can choose a different style for your product over somebody else's just because you prefer it. We like our photography editing method, but not, there are some customers that are always going to complain about one thing or another, right? So it's not necessarily your photography. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that about it. But the photo editing side, like I said, will definitely depend on what course you go down. You can spend hours online trying to figure out, what would be the best method. And that's kind of what I did when I first started, man. I did not know anything about real estate photography, and there weren't many resources online about how to edit real estate photography. We're talking almost 8 years ago. Now there's a lot of different things, and that's one of the reasons why I created my courses, was to help others to save time and not having to spend so much time like I did when I first started out. But yeah, so in general, I guess I'll talk in general. If you're shooting HDR, which is something that I recommend for beginners, people just getting started, just to eliminate as many variables as possible, it will entail taking bracketed shots of a shot. So for example, that would be the shooting method, right? Shooting bracketed, a -3, a 0, and a +3, so that you're getting details outside the windows, and also a lot of details in the shadows, which a lot of times you'll use in real estate photography. So knowing that, just blending those together, you can use Adobe. I mean, there's a lot of different tools, Photomatix, Adobe, just blending those together. Editing to your liking, right? I don't think there's like a right or wrong answer in regards to the editing side of things. We have like a systematic approach of how we like to edit our photos, at least here at Lister Pros. We would rather deliver a consistent product, I guess we can say at 80% quality versus variable quality at 100%, right? So we really focus on a systematic approach to our editing, so that regardless, who's editing, our customers are getting a consistent result. So you blend your brackets together, then you edit them. I'll talk about some of the basic settings in real estate photography editing, and a lot of you'll want to adjust white balance, which a lot of times is a problem in real estate photography, especially if they have multiple color temperature bulbs in a particular room. That can be problematic. So white balance is important to get right. Tint is very important to get right, and exposure. Those are probably the biggest things that you have to nail in real estate photography. And some of the other settings that are very important is highlights, shadows. A lot of times you're bringing down highlights, boosting shadows. You also want to adjust for barrel distortion, and apply a lens profile correction if you're using Lightroom. So you want to make sure there's none of that. And you also want to use the transform tool if you're using Adobe Lightroom. That will straighten out your photos if they're slightly crooked, if they were slightly crooked when you're shooting. But anyways, there are tons of different editing methods, sky replacements, all this. I didn't want this to be a super long video, just to kind of go over the things that you need to think about when you're editing real estate photography, that maybe you don't really have to think or nail or think too much about in other types of photography. So anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you're interested in learning more about the real estate photography business, or even the method that we shoot and edit, or actually, I guess our shooting method. You can check out our free workshop. The link is in the description. In my paid courses, that's where I go into more detail on how we edit and how we shoot, the nuts, the bolts, the presets, all this kind of stuff. So if you're interested in those, you can check those out as well. Reach out if you have any questions. We'll see you guys on the next one.